This is the new American media.
The 1-1 pitch. A swing and a drive to deep right. Away back. Goal! Jason Giambi has done it for the second time off the White Sox. A walk-off game winner. A two-out, two-run blast to right.
Broadcasting to you live from the Milky Way galaxy, the solar system, planet Earth, North America, the United States of America, California, Los Angeles to be specific. Hello everybody, welcome to the Unhappy Hour, where guess what, we're happy. Guess what, we're kinda happy right now. Jason Giambi had a pinch hit walk-off home run against the Chicago White Sox yesterday, as you heard Tom Hamilton so eloquently describe it. And really, when I think of the Indians, I think of Tom Hamilton's voice. Those mammoth home run calls with Albert Bell, Jim Thome, Carlos Baerga, Sandy Alomar, Matt Williams, Manny Ramirez, Dave Justice, Kenny Lofton. Go down the list of just amazing baseball players. I want to kind of dedicate this show to my buddy Sean Flynn, who passed away a little while ago. Very integral to us over here at the New American Media, and this was his favorite kind of stuff. He was a big sports fan across the board. You're listening to this song. Hey, let me turn back up for a second. This is Sean composing the song Metro. Special guest drummer Johnny Rabb performing on this. Yeah, this was Sean's favorite time of the year. Sean was the co-host and engineer, producer of the Unhappy Hour here for the New American Media for a while. I remember doing the shows. We launched this. It was a game plan. Since it's the Unhappy Hour, we had to be drinking a beverage while we were running the show. That was the game plan for the first few months. At the end of the shows got really interesting. You are obviously, this is Johnny Rabb drumming. This whole song composed by Sean Flynn. I play a little bit on here, a little bit of percussion. But I digress. This song definitely goes out to Sean Flynn. Today's episode goes out to Sean Flynn. Because I certainly remember during those pennant pushes, as the Indians were starting to get interesting and the games were competitive and all the games were counting and they meant something, I definitely remember Sean, I'd be like, Sean, you got to grab the audio from last night's game. Dude, you got to play the highlight from that. I got to hear that home run call. You know, and this was before the Indians had a good manager. This is when they were almost making the playoffs. Playoffs? Yeah, almost making the playoffs. And now they're actually, I mean, I should hold my breath because we're not quite there yet. And I do understand that, but what the hell? We got a few games left. We got a game up on the Rangers. We're only a game back of the Rays. So, anyway, real quick, our sponsor for today's show, Distal Design. If you are looking for some sort of graphic enhancement to your life, you want to build a website, you need a logo, you design some business cards, you want to make some cool T-shirts for whatever is going on. I mean, anybody can throw some text onto something, but do you want it to pop? Do you want it to be cool? Do you want it to be awesome? Hey, just take a look at thenewamericanmedia.com. Ted Distal of Distal Design designed that. So do yourselves a favor. Check out the website and contact him over at distaldesign.com. That's D-I-S-T-E-L design.com, distaldesign.com. Real quick, if you are not currently connected with us on all social media platforms, then you must correct this. Twitter, we're at American_media_. Facebook, search The New American Media with spaces and like the page. And subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/The New American Media. I guess when it's Buckeye football season, it's The New American Media. Like it's the Ohio State University. So what we're going to do, we're going to bring in a guest that really hasn't been on our program probably since those early days. I reach out to my inner circle of friends and family that want to talk sports, because that's really what this is. This is a chance to just get in the same living room and talk, even if you're all over the country. Just come on, let's talk some Tribe. We're also going to talk some Ohio State Buckeyes. And for that, we're going to bring in my cousin, Justin. He hasn't been on in a long time.
Hello.
Justin, it's Brian. You are live on the air. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing great. How are you doing, sir?
Well, you know what? I'll tell you what. It's another big win for the Tribe tonight. So, I mean, we're not making up any ground, but we're certainly not losing any. I led today's show off. Justin, do me a favor. Introduce yourself. How long you been following sports? Why you care? Just say hi to everybody, and how long you been following this stuff. I mean, you are my cousin. I introduced that in the program, but sports has always been a huge part of your life. So just say hi to everybody.
Well, I'm a junior in a college in Chicago, and I'm 21 years old. I've been an Indians fan my whole life, and super excited about the pennant race we're on right now, and of course having MLB.TV, being out of state, so watching every game. It's been exciting. I'm excited for the city of Cleveland. I'm excited for the fans, of course. And but it's good to be on your show, Brian. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's good to have you back. I was also saying I dedicated the show to my buddy Sean Flynn that passed away. He was the engineer, producer, and co-host of the program during those early days. And I said, it's probably been since those early days since you've been on the program. So welcome back. I don't know. I want to talk about tonight's win, but real quick, just what did it mean for the Indians and for the fans and for everything, for the whole playoff race in general, that they were able to come back yesterday with Giambi's home run in the clutch? How much does that mean at a time like this?
I cannot underestimate the importance of that win last night. I can't imagine how we would have responded after Perez gives up those 2 home runs. Losing that game, I think that was more important. Our response to that loss. We could have just been in a slump or gone in a drought. Because of that loss. We don't know how the response would have been, and that game, that was just huge for our morale. I think it sparked a lot of the fans. There's 31,000 fans there tonight in Progressive Field, and about 12 more thousand than last night. So I think it got us all excited. Of course, it got that clubhouse excited, and it was huge. You can't state enough how big that win was. I mean, just for the whole team in general.
Well, okay, let's go on the flip side then. What kind of damage do you think this does to Chris Perez? Having that, giving up back-to-back homers, getting booed at home. He's arrested for, having marijuana mailed to his dog earlier in the year. And, I mean, is this going to be a really big problem moving toward the playoffs, provided that the Tribe can get in? How bad are things for Chris Perez? Or was it just an off night, you shake it off, and you come back? I mean, how do you put that into perspective?
Well, that's the million-dollar question, Brian. And first off, it was the 7th home run. When your closer gives up 7 home runs, that's just a big red flag. Maybe this could be a wake-up call to him. I don't know. They said that he did not go on the field to celebrate Giambi's home run. He said it was reported he went straight to the locker rooms after that, which you can't really fault him for that. You could say he's not a true team player, for that, but he was beating himself up for it. I guess anybody would, but man, I don't know. He hasn't been the same all year, Brian. I mean, was 5 blown saves. He was spot on last year, and he got in trouble, with the media and other teams just for, I guess, being a hothead, but. I hope it doesn't. I hope he can find himself. Terry Francona said he's not going to give up on him. So all we can do is just hope and pray that he finds his groove back. He's so effective when he's spot on, but when he's not, it's really scary.
Yeah, it does. I mean, they also brought in Justin Masterson to finish tonight's game out. Actually had a bit of a interesting thread going on Facebook. It was pretty much regarding this, it started off with my friend Matt. Matt said, Chris Perez needs an absolute cry-to-yo-mama beating. Anybody that defends that worthless piece of garbage is off the Christmas card list. Go Tribe. And so the thread goes like this. I said, hey, we might need him in the World Series. This guy says, please stop. I really love the two of you, but I want to punch you in the temple. I'm not saying he needs to be Mariano Rivera, but stop blowing leads. And I said, what, keep Masterson in the pen as a closer then? So this other guy says, I was going to punch the next person who said that we should keep Masterson in the pen. And right now, just a couple minutes ago, he goes, I hate myself right now. It's one of those Facebook threads that goes on for 2 days. I'm clearly not suggesting that we put Justin Masterson in the bullpen by any stretch, but it's not that our manager wants to give up on Chris Perez. He doesn't have an option at this point, I don't think. I mean, you got to dance with the one that brought you. And maybe she steps on your feet a lot. I don't know, but you start hearkening back to the Jose Mesa blowing the game in the seventh game of in the ninth inning of the seventh game of the World Series against the Marlins, and you just go, oh man, even if we do have an enchanted season, are we going to be setting ourselves up for trouble? But I don't know. I mean, I guess time's going to tell on that. Let's bounce to today's game though. It's another 7-2 victory for the Tribe. Across the league, Tampa Bay, they beat the Yankees 8-3. Looking across the rest of it, I mean, it's not done yet, but it pretty much Texas is up 7-3 on Houston. So it looks like there's not going to be a lot of movement in that wild card race again. Talk about tonight's game for a little bit. What did you see? What were you impressed with?
Well, I was impressed with the production out of guys like Nick Swisher, and of course Michael Brantley. He's been playing huge lately, and we had to have production out of him. He was batting leadoff. I like the production out of Nick Swisher, and Carlos Santana had a pretty good game. We had to have more production out of the middle of that lineup. Of course, Swisher's batting second with Kipnis in the third hole, but I think these core guys have to start hitting. Before last night's game, past 7 games, we had like 3 home runs. That's got it. We're playing teams like Chicago and Houston, and it kind of scares you if we do get in that wild card game, and even if we get in the division race, we're going to be playing teams like Boston and of course Tampa Bay, or even Texas, and you've got to have more production. Yes, you want good starting pitching, and we've been getting that lately, but we've got to have more offensive production. So I like seeing that from Swisher tonight, and I think he's definitely going to help with that. He's the guy. He's the guy we're paying big bucks to. So I like seeing that. And of course, Danny Salazar, wow, 8 strikeouts and 5 1/3 innings pitched. So I like seeing that from him. Brian, what about the starting pitching we've been getting lately?
Yeah, it's been solid, and one of the surprising things is that with Masterson out, you just kind of, as a Cleveland fan, we're kind of used to this. Whether it's the Cavs or the Indians or the Browns, it's just kind of like, so when you lose an all-star pitcher like that and he goes down, you just go, here we go. Here goes the slide. Here goes the slide. And shockingly enough, I mean, they've all stepped it up. Ubaldo Jiminez, he's like a totally different player the second half of the season. He might be one of the best, if not the best, starting pitchers in the league. And Scott Kazmir, I mean, he was on the dumpster heap, last year. Nobody thought he'd be playing for anybody's team, let alone doing well. I mean, what are your thoughts on Jimenez, or I don't know, maybe there's another, maybe Zach McAllister. Who's the one that's kind of stood out for you second half?
Well, obviously Ubaldo Jiminez has been huge. He's been huge, and I mean Kazmir. What do you expect from Scott Kazmir? Him coming out having 9 wins is huge for this rotation. But who would have thought that Ubaldo Jiminez, even from the first half, would have come out and been as huge as he has these past couple weeks? He's obviously been the biggest surprise. And then also, I mean, you got to tip your hat to Corey Kluber. He's had 11 wins, 12 wins, and he's been huge. And then of course Zach McAllister, he's been pitching good as of late. But definitely Ubaldo Jiminez has been the biggest surprise, and it's very interesting how he's going to enter free agency and how the Indians are going to approach that, just because of this the second half performance he's had. His ERA, Brian, is under 2. He has been one of the best pitchers in baseball for the second half. So it's going to be interesting to see, but I mean, our starting pitching without Masty has been, unbelievable, and it gets you excited because that's what you have to have getting in the playoffs, going in that playoff stretch. this great starting pitching, and we've been getting that, so it's been huge for us.
No, you're absolutely right. And just back to your other point for a second, you look at the Indians' starting offense. You look at the positional players, the day-to-day guys. Not a single player. This is so different from the 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99 squads with just
right.
people mashing the ball. There is not a single starter that has a batting average above 300, if you could imagine that. Not a single player on this team poised to make the playoffs if they can finish and get the job done here in the next couple days. Poised to make the playoffs. Not a single one of them batting 300, except for Matt Carson. He's hitting 700, but he's only had a few at bats. But they pose this question on the Plain Dealer, and I guess let me ask it to you: who is the MVP of this team?
That's a great question, Brian. That's a great question. Right now, honestly, I would say right now it'd be Ubaldo Jiminez. I mean, you kind of would give back to Jason Giambi, our All-Star. But Giambi, you have to realize he's kind of topped out. He's kind of been cold this second half. I don't know where we would be without Ubaldo Jiminez's quality starts. Every fifth day he's come out and given us a great start. So right now I would have to give that to Ubaldo Jiminez.
I thought of it myself, and the Tribe, they were in a lot of these games last year. They were in the thick of a playoff hunt halfway through the year. The year before that, same thing as well. I think they briefly had the best record in baseball. They were leading the division by several games, and for the past couple years in a row, they just completely tanked in the second half of the season. Just fell apart, crumbled. I can't understand it, but it happened multiple times. I would have to give the most valuable player, the MVP, to Terry Francona. I just have to do it because you have a tough team where everybody's contributing. And Giambi said something, just to paraphrase him yesterday, I don't have the quote in front of me, but he was just saying he's never been on a team like this where everybody is the MVP from day to day. Everybody is getting solid production. The entire team has contributed to different wins in different ways. So I guess talk about Terry Francona's impact on this team. He has the pedigree. He's done this. He's won a World Series before. How much of a difference do you think that's making for them this year?
You can't state enough the difference having him, as the skipper. I mean, it's unbelievable. Just the difference. You don't like to rag on Manny Acta, but just the difference. When it was announced that the Indians had picked up, had signed Terry Francona, I was literally in a state of shock just because of, like you said, the pedigree he has and the kind of manager he is. I was in a state of shock. This has been unbelievable. What he's been able to do with this team. Like you said, like Giambi said, we're having production from everybody on the team. He's never been a part of a team like that. Brian, we've had 15 walk-off hits. 13 of those hits have been by different players. I mean, that's just unbelievable. You go from Matt Carson, to a guy like Ryan Rayburn. There's just so much chemistry in that locker room, and all of that has to go back to Terry Francona. Just from if you kept up with the beginning of the season, the things he was doing, the Harlem Shake video. How many managers do that kind of stuff? The commercials he was making, and it's just been unbelievable. It's just fun to watch. When's the last time we've had a manager? When's the last time we've brought in a manager like Terry? Not in my lifetime, for sure. A guy that's won 2 World Series. I mean, I can't remember the last manager that the Indians have brought in with that past. It's just been huge.
That's a really good point. I mean, and that's what I've been ragging on the Browns for so long is, you bring in all these first-time head coaches. Like, why don't you get a Bill Cowher? Why don't you get a Bill Parcells? Why don't you get somebody that's won it before? Somebody that knows what they're doing, that's been a head coach. Because part of the job is understanding how to coach all of your team. You have first-time managers or people without all of that experience. I think it's enormous. But let me get back to this point that you said a second ago about, what was it, 15 walk-offs this season with the job?
That's right.
Well, this stat of the night came in from a Twitter follower at Noel Blaha. It says, stat of the night from Indians telecast. Since its opening, in 1994, Jacobs/Progressive Field has been the host to the most walk-off home runs in Major League Baseball. Did you know that?
Wow. I did not know that. That's an awesome stat.
I know, that's stat of the night. Yeah, I wasn't aware of that either, but I mean, even just listening to Tom Hamilton's call, I have a promotional CD from somewhere. I'm trying to remember exactly where it came from, but it's all of Tom Hamilton's calls from, like, I think it's a 95 season when we went to the World Series. Really quick, tell me, how fun does this make, how happy does this make you feel, Justin? Just take a listen.
The 1-1 pitch. A swing and a drive to deep right, away back, gone!
I mean, come on, man. How can that not make you giddy with joy? How can that not make you just goosebumps and thrilled and you just want to start dancing around and cheering? Like, I love Tom Hamilton's calls. I don't know. Call me spoiled, but I grew up with one of the best announcers ever.
Well, I was listening to that live last night on the radio. I was at work. I was able to pick it up here in the Chicago area, and I was listening to that live. And I tell you what, I was literally about to fall over when he made that call. I mean, I was in a state of shock, and there's just nothing like that. And you heard that he had that pause. I think he was people. I was listening to the post-game show, and they were saying how he was just trying to let the crowd effect, the noise set in, but I don't know. I think he was in a state of shock, and that was just. I was jumping up and down. I mean, I was thrilled. But wow, what an opportunity for this team, and what a time to be excited. I mean, you hit it right. You hit the nail right on the head. And I mean, Tom Hamilton. You know what? He scares me, Brian, because I've listened to games, and he kind of exaggerates on some of those calls. I was like, this better not be a ball caught on the warning track. When he was saying that, because he kind of has a tendency to do that. But wow, what a great game.
Absolutely, and today, when you have such an emotion like that, you just worry you get either a little cocky or you're just worn out. When you go through the highs and the lows of a 162-game season in Major League Baseball, sometimes you just get caught napping. Sometimes there's just too much on one side and you don't take care of business the next day. But guess what? They took care of business today, and I think today's game was a big win. So, we're sitting here with 88 wins, behind Detroit, behind Boston, and behind Oakland. So we're basically looking at a 3-team wildcard race for all essential. Mathematically, there's other players in it here, but we're really looking at 3 teams that we're contending with: Tampa Bay, Cleveland, and Texas. So what do we have here as we look at the rest of the season, as we wrap it up, as far as, just talk about the schedule remaining with all 3 of those teams. I mean, unless you think Kansas City or the Yankees, I don't know, unless you think anybody else has any chance. I mean, I think it's really just 3 teams. Talk about the remaining schedule and how you think it's going to play out.
Well, with the Indians win tonight, the Yankees, they're trailing Tampa Bay. It doesn't look like they're going to come out with a win. So with that win tonight for the Indians, that eliminated New York. So they're going to be out of it.
Can we just pause on there for 1 second? Can we just pause on that for 1 second? How wonderful. Okay, let me paraphrase and say that one more time. With tonight's win by the Cleveland Indians, the New York Yankees have been eliminated from postseason contention.
Beautiful.
I mean, thank you. I mean, what a wonderful moment that is. Damn Yankees. Okay, that's fantastic. I just wanted to bask in that for just a moment, because I don't just want to revel in the defeat of the other competitors. Now I want to put Eye the Tiger on it and go fighting for the prize. So I just wanted to make sure we didn't gloss that over, because how much was the Yankees' payroll this year, off the top of your head? What, $162 million? I don't know. I forget off the top of my head. But nowhere near. Indians have nothing near in the piggy bank what the Yankees have, and it still didn't matter. So that makes me happy. So moving forward.
Yeah, well, you got to look at like you said, the remaining schedules. Tampa Bay, they have Toronto next after New York, so that could go either way. What's going to be interesting is Texas. They have the Angels, and it is in Texas. That's going to be interesting to see, because the Angels are a tough team. They've struggled this year with injuries, but they obviously have a lot of talent on that roster. So that could go either way. It very well might be a Tampa Bay Indians wild card. We just have to take care of business, Brian. I mean, I know it's been overstated, but if we can at least get 3 out of 4 in Minnesota, I think we're in that wild card game. I kind of like Tampa Bay's chances over the Rangers, just because of the way they've been playing as of late. Tampa Bay has a great starting rotation with David Price, Matt Moore. It just goes up and down. So I think if you were to ask me today, I think it would be Cleveland and Tampa Bay in Tampa Bay for that one wild card game. Someone said that we could play a tiebreaker game to get to that wild card, but I don't see that happening. I mean, obviously anything could happen, but right now, the way the schedules look, as long as the Indians take care of business, I think it will be a Cleveland Tampa Bay wild card game.
And how do you feel about the one-game wild card playoff anyway? I mean, I'm okay with the one game myself if there's like a tie or something, and you got to settle a tie and whatever. I'll say personally, I don't think that I like the one game playoff. You know, I would almost like a series somehow. Work them in with some of the division leaders like you do in football. You know, maybe give the best team in the league a bye week or a bye series or something. Let them all get healthy and whatever. Whether it's Boston or the A's that has the best record in the American League, give them an off, and then the other 2 division winners, let them play the wild card in a 5 or 7 game series. That's what I think. You know, it's like, hey, we made the playoffs. Okay, now it's do or die like football. I'm like, wait, I thought it was a series. I don't know. What are your thoughts on it?
Well, I've mixed emotions. You know, I've heard it been put as, you know, it's not fair to the players and the team in the race, but it is, you know, it's fair to the fans. It makes it more exciting. It makes the month of September so much more exciting. Obviously, as an Indians fan, you like it because, you know, it kind of guarantees we have a chance for the division race. Obviously, we don't have a guarantee right now, but you know what I mean. I have mixed emotions. I like the thrill of it. I like that underdog team has a chance. You look at last year's team, it was the Orioles. You know, Texas had that lead on Oakland with 3 or 4 games, and they fell, and they winded up losing the division and having to play in that one-game wild card. And the Orioles took them out in Texas, and the Orioles, you know, make the playoffs. Then the same thing in the National League. You had Atlanta. They had a 5 or 6 game lead, and boom, they lost it. They got in that one-game wild card. You had that blown call of that infield fly rule in left field, and boom, Atlanta's out. And they win like 90 games or something. So I don't know. I have mixed emotions. I like it. It makes it more exciting. It gives that underdog team a chance. It makes teams buyers at the trade deadline. You know what I mean? If you're a couple games out, you're in it, and another starter, a good quality starter can make the difference. So I like it. I mean, I think it's good for the sport.
Yeah, see, that's interesting. That's interesting how you phrase that. That it makes those mid-market teams, if you're on the bubble, it turns them into buyers instead of fence sitters.
Exactly.
That's interesting. Let me chew on that for a little while. But I don't know. I guess let's do this. Let's flip over to the National League since we can't count our chickens before they hatch. Obviously, the Tribe hasn't won anything yet. We're not officially in the playoffs. We're not there yet. Yeah. But let's take a look and start scouting the competition. Just because some people in the Tribe organization is already scouting the Cardinals, they're already scouting the Reds, the Pirates, whatnot. So talk about the National League for a second. What are you seeing going on over there? Who do you think is going to be the strongest challenger that might be able to come out and face the winner of the East, or of the American League, rather?
Well, right now, I think the Dodgers, just from the roster, the talent they have up and down, the way they've been playing as of late, I think they're going to be the tough team that's coming out of the National League. I don't know about you, Brian, but I am looking forward just to sitting back and those National League playoff games pan out. Even that one game, you got Pittsburgh and Cincinnati. Pittsburgh's having a great year. You got to be happy for them. Not being in the playoffs since '92. So I'm just fascinated by what's going on over there in the National League and how that playoffs, how it's all going to pan out. The Giants aren't going to make it, so I'm excited about that. Just a lot of teams that I've been in there in the past, aren't going to be in there. But, St. Louis is always tough. They're always tough. And, they've got experience And so, to be honest with you, it could go any way. I mean, any team could come out of the National League, and any team could, and it's just going to be very, very interesting to see how it all pans out. So I'm excited, but as of right now, I think the Dodgers are the team to beat.
Yeah, well, I've been saying that I think let's just get ready for it. Let's get ready for an Indians-Dodgers World Series game. I'll get to go right in my backyard into Chavez Ravine, and I'll get to rock my Indians wear and be able to cheer them on in the World Series in my backyard. That's what I'm rooting for. I mean, the Dodgers, I don't root against the Dodgers. I don't necessarily root for them. But you know what? I kind of do. I've been to the stadium a few times, been out to their park a few times, had a good time. Until they play the Tribe, I could pull for them. Puig is an interesting story. I mean, hell, they almost fired their manager halfway through the year. Donnie Baseball almost gone, and look, they turned it around. And that's what I'm saying, Justin. You never know what's going to lead a team to a championship. You just have to get into the dance, and you got to get hot at the right time. And anybody could win if you just get on a hot streak for a couple of weeks. And then you win a championship, and then then you can plummet back to earth later. Just get hot at the right time. Thankfully, the Indians are hot right now because they've had now, 2 hot streaks this season and 2 cold streaks. So, I mean, I think it's really good to be finishing strong. But, we'll see how it goes. But let's do this. Let's bounce over. Let's hit reset. We'll plant our pivot foot, if we will, make a hard cut, and we'll bounce away from the Indians. Unless you have any final thoughts on the Tribe, Justin.
I don't think so. I think we've hit it pretty well.
Okay.
Go Tribe.
Yeah, exactly. Go Tribe, roll Tribe, good times. Tell you what, let's make that hard pivot. We'll go over for a second. I want to talk about some Ohio State Buckeyes. Got their first real test this weekend. And, sitting there in the top 5, undefeated, before the playoff, the BCS change is made. Can they make the national championship? Who do you start at quarterback? What's going on with that defense? So many questions we have to discuss. So let's just kind of pause this. We'll split this up in post-production, and we'll put these 2 segments up in 2 different places. So once again, if you haven't checked us out online, our homepage is thenewamericanmedia.com. If you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, you need to do that. It's youtube.com/thenewamericanmedia. If you're not following us on Facebook, search The New American Media and like our page. And on Twitter, we are at American_media_. We are pleased to have our guest, Justin Engelman. Yes, that's my cousin. I guess, sports and enjoying talking to other people runs in the family indeed. He hasn't been on the program in about 2 years or so, and it's a good time having him back. We'll be right back on the other side on the TNAM Radio Network. My name's Brian Engelman. Thanks for listening.
You are listening to the New American Media.
All right. Now, if you're listening in real time, that took just a matter of seconds. If you're listening after the fact, thank you for checking this out either at our homepage, thenewamericanmedia.com, on our Facebook page by searching The New American Media and liking our page, on Twitter at American_media_, or on our youtube.com/The New American Media channel. Subscribe to that as well. We're back with Justin Engelman. Yes, it runs in the family. We love sports. We love to talk. And so, you know what? We might as well talk at the same time because it's a very fun week in sports. I don't know. We're probably not going to get into the Cleveland Browns stuff, but finally the Browns showed a little bit of life with their backup quarterback. Hey, sometimes you got to get divorced for things to work. You trade Trent Richardson and things get better. But we just talked some Cleveland Indians. Please check that out on the archives. But right now I want to talk about some Ohio State football. I had the chance to go to the Cal game a couple of weeks ago. It was really impressive watching Kenny Guiton out there and watching the offensive display. And, now this week against Wisconsin, the Buckeyes are going to have a real strong test. So, Justin, let's do this. Let's discuss real quick. What have you seen from the Buckeyes from week 1 up until now? Before we even get into the upcoming matchup and who starts at quarterback and can they compete for a national championship? What have you seen from the beginning of the season to this point that you've taken note of, both good or bad? And did I lose you? Justin, you still there? Gotta love radio. Let's try it again. nothing I love more on radio than a ringing phone sound. I'll tell you what, let's just give him a second to get things back together. Maybe he lost reception for something. Ohio State 4-0. 4-0 Ohio State, ranked number 4 in the country, going to be taking on Big Ten opponent Wisconsin. The Badgers are 3-1, ranked number 23 in the nation. This one's coming up, and you know, I have a couple of questions for this game. You know, I was starting to pose them. What's going on with the defense? You know, I've seen that defense kind of getting torched a little bit. Kind of getting torched. You know, especially at the Cal game. I mean, there were a lot of big plays. I mean, that secondary's kind of getting burned a little bit. I'm concerned about that as the level of competition starts to ramp up. Are we going to be able to play solid enough defense to really compete for a Big Ten title and then ultimately an NCAA national championship? I don't know. We've lost a lot of players on that defense. Question number 1. Question number 2. Who the heck do you start at quarterback? Really, who do you start at quarterback? I don't know how to answer that question. I just don't know. I would probably lean toward Kenny Guiton because he's played pretty phenomenal. Oh, he's had a moment or two where he's done some dumb stuff, yes. But let me just put this out there. No quarterback has ever thrown for more touchdowns in a game than Kenny Guiton. Yes, it was against a lousy team the other week. Fine. But you're telling me the other great Ohio State teams from years and years and decades 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 and decades. Sorry, I'm losing track. That nobody was able to throw for 6 touchdowns before that. That's got to count for something. And this Kenny Guiton, the guy just did it. What is he, a 5th-year senior too? I mean, this is the last chance you're going to have to see this kid. I don't know. So I'll pose the question. I'll leave it out there. Who would you, if you were Urban Meyer, who the heck do you start? Who do you start? I don't know. I would probably go with Guiton. You know, Cleveland Browns, they just said backup quarterback Brian Hoyer is going to start this game ahead of Brandon Weeden. Well, he threw for over 300 yards. First time a Browns player has done that in their first game ever. I believe it was ever. Okay, that counts for something. He got him a win where the other quarterback got him 2 losses. So, I don't know. That's got to count for something. You know, can this team compete for a national championship? Well, absolutely. Absolutely. Why not? Absolutely, they could compete. I mean, you got some other good teams. You know, in the USA Today poll, the Buckeyes are 3rd, behind Oregon and Alabama. In the AP poll, we're 4th, behind Clemson, Oregon, and Alabama. You know, and you got a lot of teams that are undefeated, but behind that, Stanford, LSU, Louisville, Louisville, the Louisville team, Florida State, Oklahoma, UCLA, Miami, Northwestern, Michigan, Baylor, Washington, Ole Miss, Texas Tech. So you have all these teams in the hunt in theory. You know, we're only a month in. But do they have what it takes? Absolutely. Urban Meyer has not lost a game since he came to the Ohio State Buckeyes last year. Tell you what, while it might not count for everything, that counts for something. So they have a chance. They absolutely have a chance. But let me see if I can get Justin back in real quick. Maybe it's not in the cards. Dun, dun, dun. See, that's strange, because usually if the battery dies, it'll go to voicemail. Oh, well. What are you going to do?
You've reached the voice.
Yeah, there's... Well, okay, eventually on the 38th ring. But anyway, these are the questions we got to figure out as Buckeye fans. Should we get all excited thinking this is a national championship team, or should we just enjoy it for what it is and get ready because there are a couple of teams that are that much better than us? I don't know. We got Wisconsin. This is where it starts. It's a huge game. It's going to be the 5 o'clock game out here on the West Coast, the 8 p.m. game over in the East. Nationally televised. It's a big deal. And for one, I'm looking forward to it. I absolutely, I think every year that this could be the year. Hell, how many John Cooper teams did you think were national championship contenders? And how many actually were that he screwed up? Yeah, I'm going to blame it on John Cooper. Great recruiter, not a great coach. Choked against Michigan, choked against Michigan State, choked in bowl games. Anyhow. And for the record, I hope Jim Tressel gets a job someday soon. I hope he gets back to coaching. I don't know, put him on the pros. Put him on the pro level, see what he can do. Jim Tressel's the only person that has ever brought me a championship in my entire lifetime. Go figure. And he got ran out of town because he was helping to cover up or mislead that his players were signing autographs and making a few bucks or selling their own items, like jerseys or things that belong to them. I don't know how that's a crime. Now, the whole system's screwy. Ruined 2 years for Ohio State, fire the head coach, damn near destroy 2 years of that program with the Buckeyes. All because of that. Johnny Manziel does stuff like that, and he gets a slap on the wrist. 2 quarters. You can come back in. Johnny Football. Johnny Football! So, yeah, good times. I love how that happened. But good luck to Jim Tressel. I heard a story, also when the Browns traded Trent Richardson that Maurice Clarett wanted to try out for the team. That was interesting. I don't know what obviously, he didn't get the gig. Life is funny, though. It just makes you wonder. And, we're going to finally get to see Ohio State up against a non-cupcake team this Saturday, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Ohio State, Wisconsin, Badgers, Bucks. I guess that's our question of the day. Would you start Kenny Guiton, or would you start Braxton Miller? I don't know. I'm going Guiton. Hot hand. And if Braxton really is that much better, and he's earned that spot, then let him totally stay healthy. There's no need to bring him in. I saw that play where Braxton Miller got hit. I called it a concussion right off the bat. They want to say it's his knee or whatever. I didn't see the knee. I saw the concussion. Let him sit out. Let him get healthy. If he truly is ready to go, let Guiton start. If Guiton performs and does well, you know what? Drew Bledsoe used to be a starting quarterback until Tom Brady stepped in. Sometimes these things happen. Could you imagine? What if could Kenny Guiton win a Heisman? Kenny Guiton, 65 of 95 for 664 yards and 13 touchdowns. There you have it. That's kind of solid. I guess we'll see how it plays out. Okay, 2 interceptions as well. His quarterback rating is 168.1. His raw QBR is 86.7, but 168.1? Wow. Whatever. Senior, I say start him. But tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong. Go for it. Let me have it. I just love this time of year. I tell you this every week. It certainly helps when the Browns win, when the Indians are winning and the Buckeyes are winning. It changes my mood from just having the Browns losing. That really gets old pretty quick. But, hey, you know what? Couple days, we got a big matchup, got a big game. Looking forward to it. And sorry that we couldn't bring... you know what the hell? One last try, shall we? See if we can get him back one more time. technical glitches happen. From time to time, this stuff just occurs. What are you going to do? And when you're the producer, engineer, and the host at the same time, you kind of have to do this stuff on the air, and it's not as clean, but it's raw. And I think that's what the new American media is anyway. It's raw. You do the best you can with what you have when you have the chance to do it. You don't wait for the perfect opportunity. There's no such thing. I asked my mom one time, how did you know you were ready for kids? She's like, Brian, if you wait until you know you're ready, nobody is ever ready. You just have to do it, and you go, and you figure it out. We're about 2.5 years in, and like I said, I dedicated the show to Sean Flynn, who passed away about 1.5 years ago, and Tribe playoff time was his favorite time of year. He loved it. Huge baseball fan. And just listening to Tom Hamilton's call and thinking about everything, it just brought it all back. But yeah, if you wait till you're ready, who would have figured Sean would be gone at 29 years old? I'm here at 34. Good times. I'm surviving. I'm still here, breathing air. But if I were 29, waiting for things to happen at 39, what if you don't make it? Well, I don't know. I don't want to start a website. What if it's not put together right? What if I don't update it frequently enough? What if I'm just going to start, I'll put one foot in front of the other and just get going. And that's it. That's what I've been doing over here. But it's times like this you just got to press pause and think back and reflect upon it. Just got to think back of all this stuff. That's what the new American media is. For now, I'm the engineer, the producer, the host, the post-production, the marketer, anyway, whatever you want to say. It's basically, Ted Distel with disteldesign.com. Check out their website, DISTEL design.com. They help us out. They help us put together the website. They'll help you design your business cards, your T-shirts, your website, your basically anything graphics. Logo, you need a new logo for something? Check them out, DISTEL design.com. My brother, Chris Engelman, helps me. He books some radio guests. He helps with some graphics. I certainly don't mean to imply I'm a team of one, but aside from getting a little bit of help on the side from my brother and Ted and maybe a couple other people, this just is what it is. It's kind of a one-man wrecking crew. And I kind of enjoy sometimes when you get to hear that I'm making phone calls and that something happened with the reception. Let's just hope Justin's okay, shall we? Assuming he is. But, that's just how it goes. It's raw sometimes. You don't know until you put it out there. And it's not worth cleaning up. I think it's good to show that there are glitches and bumps in the road sometimes because, face it, on our show, Agree to Disagree, it's all politics, finance, and global governance, and health problems, and just it's just really exposing and shining a whole bunch of light on some really horrible stuff. And what's more important? Is it more important that you get the story out there, or that you get a perfectly crafted story with all the best graphics and animation, and with the right marketing team and the right co-sponsors and stuff? Nah, I'm not all that interested in that. I don't have time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. And I mean it. Ain't nobody got time for that. Just got an update. Just got an update from Justin. Dude, fire drill in my dorm. Sorry, I'm outside. My phone is on low battery. Or is low on battery. Well, I just laughed back to him. So, anyhow, now you know what happened. But special thanks to Justin for joining us to talk some Tribe. But hopefully we're going to be able to talk deep into October. Is the Tribe maybe even plays a World Series against the Los Angeles Dodgers? Wouldn't that be great? Wouldn't that be great? Yeah, I would certainly get on the horn to get press passes for that, let me tell you. To cover my hometown team from my new hometown team with a show called The Unhappy Hour, the only Cleveland-centric, Los Angeles-based sports show that I'm currently aware of. Oh, hell yeah. Oh, yeah. You better believe I'd be on that list. You would better believe I'm going to those games. So that's what I'm rooting for right now. So special thanks to Justin. Really appreciate his time. If you haven't checked out our homepage, we're thenewamericanmedia.com. Search us on Facebook at The New American Media. Spaces in between, like our page. On Twitter, we're at American_media_. And YouTube channel, youtube.com/The New American Media. Subscribe to it. I forget how many subscriptions we have, but something like 118,000 video views. Good times. Come join us over there. So for everybody here at the TNAM Radio Network, we'll you know what, I'll tell you what, we'll bring you a more robust Ohio State Buckeyes segment at a future time, you know, as we march toward an undefeated Big Ten title and into the national championship game. Once again in my backyard at Pasadena. Wouldn't that be sweet? Won't that be sweet? Isn't it going to be awesome? Yes. Because Urban Meyer, he just don't lose. Boy just don't know how to lose. And I like it. So, for everybody here at the TNAM Radio Network, I am Brian Engelman. Thanking you for joining us. Promising to do better next time. And I appreciate each and every one of you. I truly do. We'll see you next time. Peace.